Alrighty. Hey guys, I am back. I have been so thrilled about this getting ready for the New Year conference, and I want to just come on and talk with you guys about grit and how we can get ready for the new year. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to now share my screen, and I will talk with you guys about thriving through the new year and how we can make sure that we are gritty no matter what. For those that you might not know me, you might not know the work that I have had the honor to do. My name is Dr. G.R.I.T. I love grit. I love everything about grit, and I love helping others to thrive through grit. And so with that said, I do want to start with my presentation. And in this presentation, we're going to be talking about how we can thrive through grit in 2026. And so with that said, I'm going to first introduce myself and let you guys know who I am, a little bit about what I do. Again, my name is Dr. G.R.I.T. And I've been a TEDx speaker. I've been an educator. I'm sorry, I'm just doing a lot of different things, all the different live streams and things like that. So I'm checking out all the technology. Okay. And so I do have some speakers that are also coming into the stage in the back. So I'm excited about that. And I will bring them on. So I've had the opportunity to be a national consultant. I've had the opportunity to go into the math spaces as an educator and so much more stuff. And we've had a great time. And so with that said, I am going to now get started and really go into my presentation for you guys. So the first thing I want to talk about with you guys is women in burnout. And so I'm sorry, guys, I'm just trying to get this other stream going. I've got some things taking place here with these streams. Okay. So with women in burnout, we found that women, they have significantly higher rates of burnout than men, especially data showing that there's 55% of women that are reporting burnout. Also, we found that 60% of senior women are feeling frequently burnout, the highest in 5 years, and it's controlled by factors like gender bias, unequal care giving loads, lack of support, and leading many women to consider leaving the workforce. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. And so we'll continue moving forward. So 4 reasons why we need grit. Here are some 4 reasons that are here before you guys. And I want you to see that and know that we've got to do something to solve this problem. We've got to help women. We've got to help all over to see what we can do different. So sorry, guys, I'm literally doing another, trying to help you guys. All right. So again, my name is Dr. G.R.I.T. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this, and I've already talked to you guys about some of the work that I've done as an educator, and I went into how women have this burnout. And the thing I want to really focus on is the lack of support and how we need to really strengthen that for women, and why we need to now go through these different reasons why women need grit. I'm excited because I have speakers that are coming on. Let's see if I can add her to the stage. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to continue presenting as I've just added one of our speakers to the stage. So 4 reasons why women need grit. We have to be able to navigate through challenges with strength. We also have to lead with confidence and clarity. Women need to be able to sustain growth without burnout. And we also need to be able to turn vision into results. Grit bridges the gap between goals and outcomes by combining persistence, discipline, and purposeful action for women. And through that effective time management, it helps us to stay focused, balanced, and committed to long-term success. I don't know about you, but I think that many of us are really striving for that in these days. Now, what is grit? Grit is great resilience in time. That is an acronym that I came up with on the TEDx stage. It is a main factor that is needed for success of leaders, of women, of students, of teachers. We have found in our research, I found it at the University of Florida, Dr. Angela Duckworth found it in her research, that grit is it. Grit is a key to success for all of us. And you have to see grit as a trait. It's like a muscle, and it's something that everybody has. You just have to learn how to cultivate it. And we'll be talking today about how to cultivate grit so that we can thrive into 2026. So grit is it. We found that grit supported leaders during moments of discouragement. It also led to other factors in the grit levels of each leader, whether that was like a mentor, having a sense of belonging, needing some type of organizational talent, or needing some type of wealth accommodations. No matter what it was that you coupled grit with, it really took that person to the next level and it helped them thrive. And so grit it's like a glue that keeps all of the great elements together in somebody's life when they're really trying to be successful. It's the glue that holds the organization together. And this is why we need it today. So with that said, I do want to give you guys a moment to measure your grit levels and go ahead and take the grit assessment. So you'll have here the grit assessment. I'm sharing my screen so that you can go ahead and start taking the grit assessment. So I'll give you guys about 3 minutes or so to take that and then share out like how you feel. So go ahead and scan that. Go ahead and scan the grit assessment, and then we will share out. As you're taking the grit assessment, whenever you get down to the end of the grit assessment, I want you guys to be able to tell what was your weakness when it came down to grit, and how you want to build your weakness. And then, of course, what were your strengths? So as you scan the QR code and you're doing the grit assessment, I want you to, again, be able to tell where were your weaknesses, and then tell what would you do different to strengthen that weakness. And not only that, what are your strengths of the grit assessment? So take a moment now and scan that. And I am removing my banner so that you guys will be able to see that. All right. And I will add my speakers to the stage. Welcome, welcome.
Well, hello.
India. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you? It's so awesome.
Yes, welcome. I can't wait to hear from you.
Yeah, you are fantastic at speaking. It's so amazing that you're helping so many people.
Oh, thank you. You know, we all need to be gritty, and I can't wait to hear from you, rock stars, as well. Hey, Francis, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Live from Sydney, Australia. It's not even 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. So good morning.
Thank you so much.
And it's rainy.
You are such a trooper. Oh my goodness, it's an honor to have you. My goodness. So yeah, so we are taking the grit assessment. If you guys have scanned the QR code, feel free to scan it, take it for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to chime in about maybe, you know, how that made you guys feel as well. That's fine. I just want the audience to be able to, you know, explore the grit assessment and to know that this is a tool that will help them for 2026 as they're planning on thriving in 2026. So I'm giving you guys a minute.
And you know what it is? It is all about how we're going to thrive in 2026 and get gritty, right? And be very resilient.
That's right. I'm loving it. So in about a minute or so, if you guys have scanned it, let me know if you guys have scanned it, even you speakers here, and then we'll go over our results. I can tell you where I was weak at, whenever I did the grit assessment. Whenever I took the grit assessment, I scored low. I scored high in growth mindset, which I was like, okay, yay, right? But I actually scored low in time management, and I scored low in self-efficacy. And for me, I scored low in the self-efficacy piece because of different things that I had to endure, traumatic things that were still kind of lodged in my mind when it came down to my ability to be great, my ability to thrive and do things. And so I found that was very interesting that, different seeds that were planted by those that claimed they love me were affecting my ability to be a leader and to be successful. And I found that I had to go through the counseling that I needed and the therapy to get rid of some of those things that were lodged in there. There's nothing wrong with being human and having those moments. But I will encourage each and every one of you guys to know that you are worthy. You do have value, and you do belong at the table. You deserve the seat at the table. See, for me, I didn't think that I deserved the seat at the table because so many people told me that I didn't belong, or I was a token, or I just wasn't competent, wasn't fit. And I had to unravel through those things and clear it out and know that I did belong at those tables. And so for those leaders out there, I want you all to know that you do belong as well. And you are in that position, you are in that seat, you are the leader for whatever your business is, your corporation, whatever, because you deserve it and you have what it takes to execute it. So any of you guys want to chime out about what you think about the assessment or what you think about grit so far?
Well, I've just literally just done it. So I scored definitely low in time management. I think for me personally, like I can get distracted because I'm always like doing so many things at like once. And then I'm like, no, I need to focus on one thing. If I have like a list, then can tick it off and all that sort of stuff. And I think, everybody's different, but that personally like works for me, have a list and then be like, okay, otherwise I'm going to forget anyway. And then I'm like, oh, what do I need to do? And yeah, so I definitely scored low in that. And then I think with time management, like if I know what I'm doing and if it's done in advance, then I'm good. But otherwise, like I can do well under pressure, but I'm also like, oh, I need to get done like right now.
I think, yeah. That was awesome. I think it's really important to figure out like where you stand and where you can work on things in life, and then sort of like working out a plan to get there. I love this grit assessment. It's awesome, India. It's so great. It looks like I got a pretty high score. I work on myself all the time. One area that I can really work on is overbooking myself. So that falls into time management, I think. I think that's time management for sure. I hold myself very accountable, and I love helping people. And so my day is usually jam-packed from morning until evening. So that is an area that I find that I struggle with on a weekly basis, is scheduling in me time. I like to call it soul health time. So I call it soul health time, girl. Soul health. You gotta take time for yourself to take your little namaste moments,
Excellent. I love that. And thanks so much for sharing with us, Miriam. And we can't wait to hear you speak in a little bit. I'm going to continue going now, guys, with this with our fabulous presentation on grit. Thank you for taking that assessment and sharing out. First things first, we need goal setting. We have to make sure we're having those positive affirmations. We have to look into vision boards, and we have to also have intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. We'll be talking about vision boards later on today. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation is key, because you have to know what your why is, and that usually is going to be fueled by what you're believing on the inside. And then extrinsically, how are you going to celebrate? Is that going to be a cruise? Is that going to be a mango smoothie? Is that going to be a trip to the mall? Is that going to be just some type of reflection and celebration among loved ones? What is that going to be? So I want us to really keep that in mind for 2026 as we're really trying to cultivate grit. You got to keep it going. Every one of us have it, but we have to know how to keep that going. So how do we then put grit in action for all of our leaders? Let's talk about it. So first things first is the grit framework. Okay. The 4 pillars of that grit framework, of course, as we just spoke about, are growth mindset, resilience, self-efficacy, and time management. That QR code is for a workbook. It's actually a discounted rate for you guys that are on this live stream today, for our leaders, and for those that are going to be watching the recording later on. You will see it there for you. This is a grit workbook for leaders, and this has the actual workbook in 6 weeks. It's about 6 to 8 weeks worth of different activities that you can do, and how you can reflect on the grit workbook and really kind of take this in. So I provided that for you guys because it's key if you're really trying to cultivate grit and keep grit going for 2026. This is a year for us to shut off the mess and to go into this to thrive. Really don't apologize for it. You're going into this to thrive. Okay. Next, grit pillars for success. Here's some pillars. When you're talking about growth mindset, resilience, self-efficacy, and time management, you're going to have, as leaders, we have to definitely boldly affirm that greatness is already within us. Okay. You also have to have the courage to persevere through adversity. Okay. We rise and adapt as we press forward, no matter the challenge, because we know that quitting is not an option. Okay. Again, quitting is not an option. The next thing that we want to look at is that self-efficacy, or that inner confidence, because true leadership, it begins from within. Okay. So as we're planting those seeds, listen, y'all, of self-belief, affirming our worth and trusting our abilities, we strengthen our inner confidence. If we believe in ourselves, and that gives us the permission to do the same, and also to strengthen others. Okay. It's hard to fill the glass if we don't believe in ourselves, we don't believe in others. If you guys want to comment on that, feel free to comment and share out. So I will let you guys share out, either Francis or Miriam, if you guys want to share out what you think about the grit pillars.
Oh, I think Francis is gone. I love the grit pillars. Girl, this growth mindset, resilience, inner confidence, and time management. I mean, it's really true, because you have to actually really be centered in who you are, and that's what I'm going to go into talking about later, because if we don't know where we're driving our ship, and where we're going, then we're not going to get anywhere. We're just not going to get anywhere. So the fact that we have to really decide, how are we going to manage our time, and where are we going? Where's our goal? Totally agree with you. So the grit pillars are fantastic, India.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Miriam. And Francis, feel free to share out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I totally agree with both of you. And lately, I don't know if you've seen, Oprah came to Australia, but I went to see Oprah.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Oprah came to Australia.
Yeah. She hasn't been back in about 10 years. But her conversation was really about this, and really about how, if you have people in your circle, and if they make you go, you question yourself. She said, get rid of them. She said, your circle is so important. And she said, even though she's famous and everything, but she had people around her who would make her question herself. And she said, once you have those people around you, she said, no, they're not good for you. She said, it doesn't even matter if they're family, your best friend, whoever. If you don't have that circle that's supporting you, then you wouldn't be able to do these grit pillars, because you question yourself. So
exactly. And thank you for sharing out, ladies. And so with that, I also want to remind you guys of the time management. I think that is the one thing that has been missing in many people's lives, is that time management and that accountability of holding ourselves accountable. And so with that said, time management, it talks about how purpose-driven leaders, they understand the value of time. We have to hold ourselves accountable and remain focused on our vision and steward each moment wisely, because success is intentional and it starts with how we manage our time, our priorities, and our commitments. So now, how do you harness grit in women and in leaders? First, you lead with that growth mindset. So an action tip here can be replacing your I can't with I'm learning how. Okay. Choosing to document one leadership lesson that you've gained from every challenge that you face. Okay. Another thing you want to do is you want to strengthen your resilience through adversity. Okay. So, resilient leaders, they don't avoid hardship, they rise through it. Another thing is to build that inner confidence intentionally. Okay. Growth in that confidence, it happens whenever you affirm your voice, you honor your achievements, and listen, silence self-doubt. I think that is huge, because so many times you're like, oh, I just don't know if I've got what it takes. I don't know if this is gonna, I want to launch this, and you're like sitting on this for like 2 years. You need to just go ahead and launch it, right? You need to go ahead and do it, and watch it grow. Okay. I'll never forget the first book I wrote, and you guys know I've written quite a few books. I've now written 70 published works, and that's beyond the math textbooks, self-published books, 70 works. But the first book, I doubted myself so much. I actually have the book on my shelf. I would turn around and look. Here, I have it. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's called How to Overcome Obstacles from Your Past. This is the very, very, very first book that I wrote. I wrote this book in 2011. I remember because I was pregnant with my son, and I was like, I need to get the book done before I give birth. But I doubted myself. I doubted that I could do it. And the book was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me to get out there. And I want to encourage each of you to thrive, force yourself, soar, do it afraid, as they say, do it anyway. Stop doubting yourself. You never know who needs your talent, who needs your voice, and who needs what you have to offer in this world. So, with that said, I want to also talk about mastering time management with purpose, and also surrounding yourself, like Oprah said, with grit, focused support, because nobody thrives alone, right? Making sure that you're setting those clear goals as you're meeting those deadlines, and you're doing the great things that you need to do. And then, of course, I want you guys to take with you also different strategies to cultivate these grit. I want you to focus on the one that says building self-efficacy through affirmations and action. If anything, if I can leave you with anything, I think that's going to be the theme about how we thrive, is you have to do it through affirmations and action every day. What is your affirmation? And what is the action step? What is your grit move? What are you going to do to really thrive and to make this thing happen? I know I'm running low on time, so I'm so happy as we're getting ready to wrap up. So again, I want us to thrive, and I wanted to come up with an acronym for all of us. So for T, it'll be time stewardship. H, hope-fueled growth. Adopt your growth mindset and have it rooted in belief and possibility. Give yourself a chance. Put the past to the side. Give yourself a fresh chance in 2026. Okay? Have resilient leadership, R. Okay? Persevere through those challenges with strength and grit. I, inner confidence, leading your voice and your abilities. V, having that vision-driven action. Okay? What does that look like? Aligning your daily actions with long-term goals. And then E, having empowered, powerful, guys, execution. Taking consistent action using the GRIT framework. Okay? So let's thrive into 2026. And with that said, feel free to scan that. That is a code to my GRIT master course. It has over 14 different lessons in the entire course. And each lesson really goes through grit, what it looks like, how it makes sense. And after you take that course, you will never, ever again question what grit is, what it looks like in your life, and how to really make it pliable and tangible so that you can thrive. So thank you for letting me share. I hope you guys are able to scan that code for that Grit Master course. And then I would love to keep in touch with you guys. So I'm going to leave you here with the survey. where you could fill this out. You could scan that survey, and you have my information there for you. You have my website, india.white.123@gmail.com. And you have, or excuse me, that's my email, india.white.123@gmail.com. And my website, india-white.com. And then, of course, my Instagram information. Feel free to scan that. You can leave me your information so that we can see how we can service you in 2026. So thank you so much. That's all I have for you guys. To our other amazing, amazing speakers. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining. And any last comments before we switch it over to our next speaker?
Well, I just wanted to say, India, that was such an amazing presentation. I am like crawling under my desk right now, having to go after you, girl. That was fantastic. I love the presentation, and that course is so wonderful. It's really great. You're helping so many people. It's really, really awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope that all of us can continue to thrive in 2026. And, you know, I just thank you ladies for being a part of this fabulous conference. So now, guys, I want to introduce you another amazing life coach, speaker, and entrepreneur doing so many different things, helping people in her strengths and in her own right. And with that said, I'm going to get out of your way and give the floor to Miriam Putnam. Welcome, Miriam. Please introduce us to yourself. And if you need to share the screen, let us know and we will get the screen to you.
Okay, thank you so much, India. Before I continue and talk about myself, let me just really, all of you guys listening and that did her analysis and the grit assessment, and she gave you access to the course online. Seriously, awesome job. It was really, really great.
Thank you. Thank
really
you. Thank
awesome.
You. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for that.
It's so wonderful. And I really, truly appreciate you from my heart to your heart for inviting me on today to share my story.
Getting gritty for the New Year conference. And we are so thrilled to have Annette with us, or Annette Garsteck. I actually saw one of her podcasts the other day. She was just cooking with grease. And so I'm honored that we have her here among us. And so I'm now going to allow Annette to introduce herself and to tell us, you know, a little bit about herself and go right into this fabulous content before we end our conference that we have been on today. So go for it, Annette. It's all yours.
Thank you so much. I cannot believe people are not going to think that Sia and I did not coordinate our conversation. So I'm feeling really excited about that. And I'm so honored to be here in this room with you and all of your audience members here. I'm excited to talk about careers today. And I am I don't want to say, I'm a previous corporate America woman, right? Grew up in a company, was there for, oh my gosh, I guess I was there for already 5 years. I thought I was going to retire from this company. So Sia, I'm with you. I'm a Gen Xer, and my parents' instruction to me was get a good job, hold on to it, and then you retire from it, and then you live your real life, right? That was sort of how I was brought up. Not that it was wrong, but things were changing, and it was not the way it worked out for me. So I got promoted, and within 3 weeks after I was promoted, I got my first buyout offer from the company.
Oh, wow.
They sent me an email and they said, we're looking for people to retire early. Listen, not that I was even in a position to do such a thing at that time, but that is the aha moment that I had that said, I cannot take this advice. I will not be able to stay at this job until I retire. I can't work here for 25 years, get the fancy watch, and then go live my life. I'm going to have to figure something else out. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to try. So that's when I started on my own career exploration journey. And now that's what I work with women in corporate America to help them discover their version of success just like Sia was talking about defining or redefining success. So I'm so excited to be in this room because it's amazing. So let me see if I can pull up some slides here. Can I share my screen, or is
Yes,
that not how this works?
Yes,
Okay.
you may share your screen. So when you go to share
There
it,
we
then,
go. I see it at the bottom.
okay, excellent. Let me see. I've got so many screens up. Go Gators. Okay, let me see here. Okay, I'm waiting for it. I don't see it quite yet.
Yes.
You
let
see it
me
on
share.
yours?
I do. I can see it now. It
Okay.
should be coming up here any second.
Yes.
And do you have it?
I have it.
Woohoo!
There you go.
All right, sounds good. So the talk I'm bringing you today is called Success Has a Sound. Speak the language that gets you seen and heard. And kind of what we were talking about before. I'm Annette Garsteck, master professional career coach, former people leader and hiring manager. I've worked at places like AT&T, FedEx Custom Critical, and the Cleveland Clinic. And my favorite thing to do is advocate for women owning their careers. And I help professionals, especially women, gain visibility and recognition for their work they're already doing. Because as we'll talk about today, allowing your results to speak for themselves is not enough. It's not going to do it for you. So I leverage my experience as this people leader, and I try and bring you the perspective of your manager, maybe in the words that he or she will not be able to tell you. Maybe they're afraid to tell you. And Sia, when you were talking, I was wondering if people are bringing their parenting skills, or perhaps lack thereof, into work with them and trying to coach and teach people how to be good employees through maybe a filtered lens that maybe they look at their children through as well. I'm not sure. It's just something that came to mind with your talk. But career coaching is not only helpful when you're trying to make a transition or get a new job. It's something that's helpful throughout your career. So today I'd like to talk about every day in your career. When you wake up on a random Tuesday and you go in the office, what's some things that you can do to help you advocate for yourself? I recently published my first book. So this is Own Your Career. It's a little baby book that also took me 3 years, doctor. So I feel a little kinship with you. And I'm going to share some of the lessons from this book with you today. All right, so let's get started. The realities of work. Who's heard this? Who got this advice? Besides, get a good job, stay there, retire, and then live your life. Keep your head down. Right? Did you ever get that advice for your career? Work hard and people will notice. Oh gosh, that's the worst piece of advice. But who's gotten that, right? We all have. But keeping your head down, working hard and hoping to get noticed is not a career strategy or not any one that works anyways. On top of that, there's other challenges, right? There's deadlines, there's milestones, there's KPIs to hit, there's team members to support, there's stakeholders to manage. You have to manage up, you have to manage down, you have to deal with constant change, new technology. Oh gosh, AI in the workplace is a huge, big question mark. There's economic and political challenges that surround us every day at work, even if they don't have a direct impact, maybe in how you treat your job. There's balancing your personal and professional life. What even is balance? Let's not even think about that. There's family, there's children, there's aging parents, there's financial goals that you have, right? And we haven't even discussed the systemic challenges and biases we navigate. Sexism, ageism, discrimination, the glass ceiling, the glass wall, the broken rung, the double bind, the gender pay gap, which can we talk about has not even moved in the last 22 years. Harassment, the intersectionality of our many identities, and the invisible work that women do in the office. Gosh, the list is long. I could go on forever. And I don't bring these up to disappoint you or to drag us down, but there are too many systems of oppression, double standards, and biases we encounter. I want to acknowledge that those are always running in the background. And I want to just acknowledge them and honor the women who navigate these failings of our systems every single day.
Yes.
So those are things that are going on around us, and on top of what Sia was talking about, then we have expectations of our family, our friends, our grandparents, our own expectations, fear of failure. These are things that can keep us small and keep us in this fearful way of dealing with things. I want us to at least acknowledge them because they don't go away, but we can also put them aside and we can do our personal best to move forward. And that's what I like to empower women to do, is to recognize that and do their best, their personal best. And that's all you can do. So, are you ready? Are you ready to talk about this and move to something that we can do? All right, here's our agenda. Know your worth. Your words matter. Stories are the secret and powerful presence. And Sia, so this is why I think like we might have made the same presentation, but from two different perspectives. All right, so let's talk a little bit about knowing your worth. It's the first thing on our agenda. It really starts with you. Know your worth, then add tax. One of my favorite sayings. High performers move fast and forget to celebrate wins. I think we all agree too that we forget to recognize that failure is part of the journey. You can't share what you don't notice, and visibility starts with being your own data collector. So how can you do that? How can you do that in your career? Notice what you're doing well, collect it and share it. Let's talk about it. I am an advocate for the daily debrief exercise. So when I joined the conference today, we were doing the vision board exercise. And that's important to think about, okay, what's next for me? What do I want to do? The daily debrief helps you look at what you've done and where you've already been successful. Right. So I don't know if you already do this, Dr. White, but do you block time at the end of your day or the end of your week to acknowledge yourself? Okay, perfect.
Yes. Journal.
Yes.
I do it for journaling, reflecting as I'm working out. But before I go to bed, I have to debrief, and I have to. It's like a hey girl moment. Hey girl, this is what happened today. This was awesome. This was great. But then I also talk about other things, get it all out. I don't want to I don't want anything lodged in there. I want my sleep to be peace and full, so that if I need to dream or if I need to just have a peaceful night, I can have that.
I love that. It's such a good exercise to get in the habit of and walk yourself through it. So I am advocating for you to block your calendar for 5 minutes at the end of the day. I say at the end of the workday because I want your accomplishments and what you did to be super fresh in your mind. Sometimes if you let it die down and you take the drive home, or if you're still working from home and you go and start dinner or start a load of laundry or go work out, if you don't process it, you're going to lose it. And then that becomes stored in your body as energy, maybe good, maybe bad. Like Dr. White is saying, maybe it's the energy that keeps you from sleeping at night because you haven't processed through it. So yes, you are welcome to journal. You're welcome to write down the crappy thing that happened to you at work today. You're welcome to write your grocery list, whatever helps you. I'm advocating for you to do these 4 questions, answer these 4 questions for yourself. So the 5-minute block at the end of each workday becomes a non-negotiable. It is your post-work business date with yourself. And I want you to ask yourself these 4 questions. What was the best thing that happened? You know how when we ask this question, what's the worst thing that could happen? If you keep asking that question, your brain is going to show you the worst thing that could happen to you. It's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't want that. You want to say, what's the best thing that happened? You want to be able to see the good. The second question is, where did I really shine? Think back of all the things that happened, all the meetings. Where did you shine? And then
did you hear me earlier when I talked about the shining example and how?
No, tell me.
So I was rebuked because back in the day, about 10 years ago, I talked about wanting people to shine and wanting people to thrive. And somebody said, oh, India, shine. Don't use that word. You don't want to shine. Don't ever say that again. And this person like really rebuked me. So what I did to shine is I found a shine organization for women, girls, mentors. And I was a keynote for their shining event. So I think it's kind of like, oh, you know, like turn those lemons into lemonade. So what you're saying is fabulous. Keep going. I love the fact that you use the word shine.
There's so many synergies here tonight, isn't there?
Yes.
And you know what I want to say is that only you can define the kind of person that you want to be. What other people think of you does not matter. What do you want for yourself, and can you go get it? So telling people not to use positive words is really wild. We're going to talk about words a little bit later in the presentation. I like to give you concepts and ideas so that you can talk about yourself from a place of power instead of a negative place. So let's see if we could talk about that and turn that shine thing around for us. And then lastly, what was the impact that you made? So there's the 4 questions. What was the best thing that happened? Where did I really shine? If you don't like the word shine, you pick a new word. What did I accomplish? And what was the impact that I had? Okay, this exercise is for you. You don't have to answer these questions in the best handwriting, right? You don't have to use perfect language here, but I want you to start. And I want you to get that journal out or write it in your electronic notepad or write it in your notes on your phone, any place that you can come back to every day and keep adding on. You need this evidence to be effective at the next step of the process, which is choosing the language of your success. Okay, so after this daily debrief, then what you're going to do is be very particular about the words you choose, because you're going to want to use this information to communicate your success to others. So you've written down at the end of the day these answers to these 4 questions. You're going to choose these words then that elevate your message, that build your credibility with your stakeholders or your leaders. And it's going to lift your authority. It's going to lift your presence in the workplace. So let me show you how to effectively communicate in any situation. And again, this helps with your visibility and being seen. Okay, let's talk about hedging words. I recommend as a professional that you eliminate hedging words. These are words that make you sound a little uncertain, tentative, waiting for the real expert to walk in the room, and it can erode your credibility. You are the expert. If you're speaking in a meeting or you're meeting with a client or customer, you are the expert. So instead of using phrases like, I believe so, maybe, perhaps, kind of, I assume, those all make me think, ooh, am I talking to the right person? So can you, and women are kind of socialized to use this language, right? We're taught to be the nice girls and to be quiet and to be seen and not heard, all of that stuff. So these things you may not even realize you're doing. Once you realize it, once it's brought to your attention, you can change it. So let's talk about language that is more powerful, showcases you as the expert. And so you can trade in phrases that were on the first slide with the data shows, the results were, I am confident, clearly we are ready. So you want to position yourself as, yes, I'm ready to do this. Yes, I'm ready to take it on. It's the President Obama energy that you were talking about, Dr. White, right? Yeah. That says, I'm the expert, let's do the thing.
Love it.
And these phrases that you're going to use are replaced with, instead of feelings or uncertainty, facts, right? You're going to bring the data that shows XYZ. You're going to show a documented result. You're going to show the study that says whatever it is that supports your argument. You can use client and customer testimonials to prove a point, right? The results were here. I'm confident the client likes this because they've told us in this review or this testimonial.
Love it. Wow.
So much power that you can step
You know,
into with
you know what
language.
you're saying when you talked about, owning, I am confident and we
Yeah.
are ready. I find that women feel like they can't say that because
Mm.
they feel like it's a overreaching of power or
Mm.
overreaching of their place. Know your place. Who are you to say that you're confident? You're just a woman at the table, or who are you to
Mm.
say that we are ready and to be strong and to own that power suit? And I think that that's why women struggle to go
They
there.
can't.
There's lots of hedging.
Yes. Yes. Thus the hedging. If you can, and I didn't even bring this up, but it's a good point to talk about. You need to walk into rooms with some allied relationships already in place, right? So you're going to walk into the meeting with your BFF at work, right? And they're going to have your back when somebody's interrupting you, right? You're possibly going to need a
Yeah.
male ally in the room that will set other
Love it.
less enlightened males in the room on track and make sure that they don't disrupt it. Those are part of building your network, and we can get to that at another time. But yes, if you're feeling like you need that backup when you walk in because of the people you're in the meeting with, bring them with you and let them have your back during this time.
Love it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about qualifiers. Undermining qualifiers are tough to remove from our language. These can undermine how people view your level of expertise. They can frame your input kind of as untrustworthy, cast doubt on your abilities, and worse, it can look like you're permission seeking when that's probably not what you intended to do. So these statements, I'm going to call them career kryptonite. Okay. I'm not an expert, but this may be a dumb question. Does that make sense? Ooh, does that make sense is tough. Let's
That's
not use
so cliche.
it is. Yes,
It's
it
so
is cliche.
cliche. People say that just to fill the air. Does that make
Yes.
sense? And really go to the next point.
Yeah. And why wouldn't it make sense? You've got a well-balanced argument that you're presenting.
Right.
Of course it makes sense. Is it okay if you don't mind? Those are actually permission seeking
Yeah.
language. So let's talk about replacing those with more powerful and empowering language. So here we go. I recommend, right? You are the expert. So go ahead and say what you clearly recommend. Bring clear ideas, make recommendations. If you need further direction, ask for additions to what was presented, right? That's a great way to do it. And ask for collaboration on what is next. So let's clarify direction on this, right? If you've presented a plan and you need a decision point, ask for that decision point. You don't have to rehash the whole plan to get the decision made. What would you add to the list, Dr. White? That's a great way not to discount what you've already talked about,
Right.
but to ask for additional input.
Love it.
And then when people are saying, I don't like this part, that's a great time to tell them that you appreciate their ownership on that piece and you look forward to working with them. And then, of course, the next best step is also a great way to make a recommendation that's maybe not as straightforward or as bold as I recommend. These are great little statements to have in your back pocket. And let's talk about apologies. Oh, apologies break
Huge.
my ex-manager, my ex-hiring manager, my leadership heart all the time, because overusing apologetic language unintentionally diminishes your authority and credibility at work, and it frames reasonable actions as burdens or worse, mistakes. And you don't want to put your great work out there as a mistake or as something you didn't intend to do. So you don't have to apologize simply for existing or for breathing. It's not necessary. So phrasing like, so sorry to bother you. I hate to ask. Sorry, I didn't know this already. Ugh. And sorry for whatever, responding late, following up again, literally anything else
That's
can
powerful.
really, it can diminish you. You don't mean to do it. You probably don't even realize you're doing it, but how can you use something more impactful and powerful at work?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
need to know because I'm guilty. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. I will apologize. Just apologize, okay? Like,
Well, and I came up in a customer service background. So I managed huge teams of retail customer service people, call center customer service people. And that's where I would say this doesn't apply, because when you're dealing with someone on the phone or over a business chat situation, the apology brings the disagreement temperature down really fast. Also, you're not that's not somebody you're dealing with face to face. And it's also good to apologize for their experience, right? So you can apologize for what they experienced, any trouble they had, any inconvenience. Those are true apologies. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you experienced because of this issue, right? That's a legitimate apology. It's not, "Ooh, I'm so sorry I walked in front of you." Don't be sorry for that.
Right.
So let's talk about flipping the script on these apologies.
Oh, I like it.
Let's thank people for their time. So instead of "So sorry to bother you, thank you for your time. Here's what I need to talk about. I'd like to clarify this requirement." You're allowed to have a question. So say that. "I'd like to clarify this requirement. Walk me through this again." Right? Let's clean it up. Let's walk through it. Let's step through it together. And thank you for your patience. That's a big one. So if you come to a meeting late or you have to change a meeting time, thank you for your patience. I appreciate your time.
I gotta confess.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm reading this and I am getting triggers of how this is not always the approach for people that might not have a good relationship with you. So if you don't know that person or you feel like they don't have your best interest, I might not feel comfortable going to them saying, "Can you walk me through this again?" Because they might be waiting for a reason to say, we're sick of it. We're sick of the competition, stage left. So there's a fear of, if I don't know that person, especially if they're higher up, or if I feel like they're if it's you're walking on a fine line with them and you don't really know the cause, but that they've got it out for you for some reason, you might not feel comfortable going to them. So how do you help people to mend that road so they will feel strong and confident enough to ask these questions? Because I might be able to say thank you for your time, but as far as I'd like to clarify this requirement, that vibe would be like walking on eggshells with certain bosses. And walk me through this again. They might say, "Get the heck out of my, I don't feel like talking to you. I don't feel like," you know what I mean?
Wow.
So what do you do? Because this is really I'm saying this because you have really enlightened me on this. I'm like, oh my word. How do you do this with a monster boss?
Yes. So if you have a bigger than life boss that is exercising their power over you, instead of using their power to develop you.
Right.
Yes. That is highly challenging. Yeah. And I'm sorry that you're going through that. First of all, I truly apologize for that because I feel badly about it.
Yeah. I'm not going through it anymore, but I had a boss that told me, he said, "I don't like you and I will do everything I can in my power to get rid of you." And, but the same boss would curse us out. That same boss was a jerk. And they loved being a jerk because they were about numbers. They weren't about relationship. And so I couldn't imagine going to someone like that and saying, "Hey, can you walk me through this again?"
Right. So who can walk you through it? Who can sit with you in process? Who can clarify it? Or is it safer to touch base with that person electronically where it's documented? Like, "Hey, Dr. White, could you tell me who the best person to sit with again and walk through this? I'd like to understand this perspective of this particular shareholder. I'd like to reach out to that person." Seeking the next best thing to do would be great. And then electronically asking for help, email, chat, Slack message, whatever you want to do, also could protect you with a paper trail, right?
Yeah.
Because what's worse than not asking for help? I'm not sure, but it's also great if you ask and then they don't give it to you. Then you have this documentation that says, I
You
reached
should
out
not
to
be
this
supported, right?
person.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I like that. Yeah, I mean I've graduated from that, but I'm just saying that in that space it was very different. And
Yes.
I could never walk up to that person with those questions because they were ready to just throw gavels at you. So I think, like you said, though, for those listening, it's best to do it with, email and paper trail for sure.
Yes. Yes. And
sure.
that's
Paper trail
just
and email.
documenting and protecting yourself, protecting your peace, protecting the fact that you've asked for help and you haven't been granted it. So powerful. I love this because you do have to protect yourself. You do have to advocate for yourself. I know we were talking about self-efficacy before, and that starts with self-advocacy. And then if you cannot advocate for yourself, who are those people that are in your circle that can help advocate for you? Yeah. All right, let's talk about
who's your tribe, right?
Yes, right. And surround yourself with them and lean on them when it's necessary. Let's talk about some diminishing statements. These could also reduce the size of your contributions. They might reinforce a stereotype or a bias about your abilities, and it holds you back from being seen as a true partner to your colleagues or your stakeholders. So things like just, and I chose this phrase, but just is the worst diminishing qualifier ever. I just need a minute. Luck. We'll talk about luck a little more in detail on the next slide. I just got so lucky. It was a team effort, right? Women are so communal. So sometimes the things that make us so great also might diminish your accomplishment, right? Of course it was a team effort, right? None of us does anything alone in this world. But do you have to always give credit to everybody else, or can you take credit for your portion of it? And then can I compliment and say, Sia did this part, Dr. White did this part. It was truly a team effort. Thank you for recognizing my contribution. There's another one. We kind of hit on this before, right? It's no big deal. No worries. No problem. Right. I want to accept the credit when I can. So to banish these diminishing statements, definitely we're eliminating the word just. You don't need it. Anytime you type it out, I want you to hit the backspace 4 times and get it out of there. When you catch yourself saying it or writing it, cut it out. So instead of saying, I just need a minute, let's schedule some time to discuss. Instead of saying something like, I got so lucky, say, I'm proud of the work. I appreciate the recognition. And then when you go to say it was a team effort, I want you to say something more about how your gratitude is so big for your team of collaborators. I'm grateful for my collaborators. And then if somebody says it's no big deal or no problem, you could just say thank you or you're welcome, because then you're accepting, you're receiving that into your life, into your energy. And that is power. You're standing in your power. All right, let's talk about stories in the workplace. And you think stories are just good like for jokes, or I want to be a really good storyteller because I want my friends to think I'm funny. Also very good use of stories. But stories are the secret, not this kind of secret that you keep. More like telling stories is a skill that can be the secret to unlock your next level of success at work. So stories bring impact to your life. They support your data with real human context, and humans are wired for storytelling. We love to hear how somebody else did it. We want to know how this person was successful. We want to talk about President Obama and how he has this quiet, calm, powerful way about him. And we wonder what that's all about. That's a story, right? That's a story we're telling about the qualities we see in him, right? Stories are remembered long after spreadsheets are forgotten, and that's why they're important. So let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So stories are amazing. And I want you to think like short verticals, like Instagram reels, Facebook reels, YouTube shorts, TikToks, right? This is how we're digesting stories now. And you want to be able to frame your stories like that. I don't want you thinking like these old hardbound books, right? Short, sweet, easily digestible. And if we're following the TikTok rules, right, less than 3 minutes. Okay. That's what we're talking about. Make them short, structured, sticky, capture interest, deliver the wow factor, get the hook in there, right? If you do any social media posting at all, the hook is supposed to reel people in and get them watching. So let's talk about a really good framework for storytelling. And who's heard of the STAR method? Yeah. Okay, so we've got, situation, task, action, and then the R could almost be 2 R's. I like to call it results and reflection. Okay, so here's how it goes. The situation, what was going on? What did you walk into, right? Oh my gosh, I walked into the room and this was happening. What was it, right? There were papers all over the place. The window was shattered. Anything that hooks people in and gets them like leaning in a little closer to hear what's happening. The task is, what were you responsible for? The action is, break it down. What were those steps you took? Usually 2, 3, 4 of them is great. Results and reflection. What was the outcome, including any metrics when possible? So Dr. White, back to that point, if you have a boss that is data driven, give them the numbers that they need to support the way their brain works so that you can be recognized as somebody that can deliver those kind of results. Yeah. What did you learn? What would you do differently next time? That's the reflection piece, because sometimes we have a good result, but you definitely change something. Like I would not send the email out at 3:59 p.m. I'd probably send the email out at noon time so that more people could get to it and respond to it before the end of the day deadline. And then adding the reflection also shows your leadership, your maturity, your growth, your ability to accept feedback. And those are all important factors for leaders.
That's good.
And I also want to say that you don't have to have a title to be a leader. At work, you can lead projects, you can lead and influence people, you can lead results, you can lead clients to a decision. So we all lead at work. And that's why this is so important to tell these stories. All right, so let's avoid some story pitfalls. I want you to apply all of the rules that we learned before. Eliminate hedging language, avoid using qualifiers, don't over apologize, and banish those diminishing statements as well. And last, I want to talk about professional presence. And there's our little superwoman. We were talking about Kate.
Yeah.
Is I don't think I was here for that part of the discussion, but do you see all these synergies? It's amazing. All right. So what message does your presence send when you walk into the room or you log into a call, right? Are they seeing this kind of woman with her cape on? Your presence is your energy. It's your confidence realized, and it's gravitas, grit. It could be another word for it. Maybe you've heard of it as like the it factor. Oh, she's it, right? It can be built intentionally. It's a skill. So it's a muscle you can flex. And let's talk about how you can do that. First, I want you to envision somebody that you admire and how she moves at work. So maybe this is somebody that when they walk into the office, you're like, ooh, that's my superwoman. All right, you have her in your mind. Let's talk a little bit about what she does. Okay, so let's talk about it. Presence, don'ts. All right, so these are things that we do out of habit. Again, they could be socialized, but these are things that we can eliminate that would give us a higher value presence in the office. Speaking too fast, over explaining, going off topic, shrinking or collapsing posture. So, if you see somebody at a meeting and they're like this, that's very different than if you see somebody engaging in a meeting and they're like this. So posture is amazing. Lack of eye contact could mean that you don't trust the information you're giving. You don't want to look somebody in the eye because you're not saying the right thing. You're not being truthful. And then too much unnecessary movement, such as fidgeting. We're allowed to move. I'm not saying that. I'm saying over movement or unnecessary movement. Let's talk about presence boosters. So you can sit or stand at an open posture, shoulders back, head lifted high. It just shows that you're engaged. Being present, get off the phone. Can you put your pen and notebook down and just be present, engaging with people in the meeting? Making eye contact shows trust and that you're engaged with other folks at work. Make an early contribution. There are some studies that have shown that if you make an early contribution to the meeting, that people around you remember that. And that's especially great if you have other leaders or a skip level leader in the meeting with you. And then,
So I have a question.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So there was there was a TikTok reel or like Facebook, I don't know. And it was of a guy that it says, this is what happens when I'm overly friendly and let everybody talk to me, whatever. And the guy's like, I was talking and I was in Kentucky and Abraham Lincoln. That's what I was. It's a joke basically, but it's saying that sometimes there's this small talk that goes off the rails and it's really weird, really awkward. And you're like getting glazed over eyes, like, okay, what are they, so what do you do in moments like that when you're really trying to be that early person and people are talking about shopping for tennis shoes and how they got a deal at Kohl's, but no, you need to go down to Target and check that out, and the green shoelaces, and how that helps me when I'm jogging, and like stuff that you're like, I don't care, or like stuff that just, it's like a rabbit hole or just goes off the rails, and it's 5 minutes before the meeting. What do you do in those awkward spaces?
Yes, when the meeting starts, great thing to do is always have your agenda prepared. Have it sent out to everybody before the meeting. And then when we get to like the 3-minute mark after the meeting starts, then I call the meeting to order. I'm like, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Or can we table this interesting sneaker discussion for later? And let's get started. We have lots of things on the agenda today. And then you can redirect. You can also set ground rules. Like what's this meeting for? What do we want to get done today? And does this part of the conversation support that end goal?
Excellent.
Yeah. And for an early contribution, Dr. White, I am talking about when we're already in business, when they ask, what do you think? These terrible open-ended questions. So not that you ask them, but some people ask them. And they're like, I want to go around the table and see what people think, or who wants to volunteer to tell us their thoughts. Instead of shrinking and having nothing to contribute, what would you contribute? What could offer value in this moment? Step in and make an early contribution there. And that's the memorable piece where people will say, ooh, yeah, she's really engaged and I want her to attend my meetings going forward. Yeah. And then virtual meetings. Okay, can we please talk about virtual meetings? Virtual meetings are hard. They're still going on. Even when people are returning back to the office, like they're sitting in 300 different cubes, but they're still virtually on a call. You can still show off your executive presence. And how I want you to do that is kind of how you see us showing up on screen today, right? I want you in the middle of the screen. I want you close to the vertical space. So I want your head close to the top of the window. And then I want you to move when you need to, right? When you're speaking. But if you're not presenting or you're not speaking and you're listening, then I want you engaging in the meeting. Sometimes we have to double duty. Sometimes we have to multitask. But if you're really engaged in the meeting, present, sitting there, it's going to be more important. So keep the camera on and
That's good.
engage. Yeah. Yeah. Has that become a thing for you as well?
I know for me, we had a situation where it was like mandatory that you had to keep your Zoom, you had to keep your cameras on, you had to contribute, you had to use the chat. But our meetings were active enough to where you wanted to, you know what I mean? And I think that it's also just a part of discipline and self-control, and figuring out how can you really support a mission or vision. And how you got to have enough passion to be there to do that. You know, that's why you're there. And if you're ever like, I'm just bored, whatever, then maybe you need to just take a moment, stretch, take a break. And we would do that too. We do like a little 5-minute stretch break, things like that, like to get yourself back to where you're wanting to contribute, you're wanting to be a part of it. I find that sometimes when those meetings go on and on and on, it's important to see how you can replug everybody back in and to get everybody back focused on the vision and the mission, because sometimes that's lost in all of it. And I think that definitely for sure what you're talking about is key, but you know, having them to contribute, and then of course giving them praise. I'm big on that. We need more praise of leaders, more praise of contributors, more praise of the works that people have done, because people are working their behinds off and they're not getting any type of acclamation and nothing, no accolades. And I think that we can do better as leaders. You know, why not? What does it hurt to give out a praise?
Exactly. And that's a great way to start the meeting, right? You want to get people engaged right away. You want to help them make an early contribution so they're memorable to others, other colleagues, other people, cross-functional partners. Then let's start the meeting with, how have you won already this week? You know, give me one win.
I like that.
Recognize somebody else in this meeting today who at this table, or this virtual table, has supported you this week. What would you like to thank them for? So not only is there great ways to show up as a meeting participant, but there's great things you can do as a meeting leader to get people engaged and want to attend your meetings, because they're not boring, they're not unnecessary to begin with. So we all have work to do as an individual contributor, as somebody just starting on their leadership journey. These are things that will help you have presence and boost your visibility at work. And then once you get that visibility, which then gives you more opportunities, you can turn around and you can reach back to those people that are coming up the same way you just did, and you can extend them these lessons. You can give them opportunities. And you have to get there first. So these are things that will help you get there. And then you can teach them to those that are coming behind you, so they have the advantages that you did not have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, keep going. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no. I have like 2 more slides.
Go for it.
Okay, sounds great.
I didn't know if you had any comments or questions, Sia, while you were.
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
To comment as you're.
I'm just soaking it in. Honestly, I'm taking lots of notes. Like, just
Me
things
too.
that I didn't know. Like, just really good. And I like how you did it, like little nuggets, like just real clear. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just it takes all my energy, just soak it in. So that's what I'm doing.
I love it. So this is what we started at. Success has a sound, right? And these things that you can say about yourself, knowing your worth, your words matter, stories are the secret, and having a powerful presence. These 4 things make up that sound of success, right? When people hear you speak in the office, or they hear you speak about your accomplishments, they will know that they can be trusted because they know you're a person that stands behind their own word. They know that you speak positively and with truthful facts that make a difference. You tell really great stories. You demonstrate the data with anecdotes that make sense and back it up. And then you have this powerful presence. You have influence and authority because you're present in meetings. You don't show up half-heartedly or show up every single day with the camera off. So we do all get tired, but if you're going to show up and you want to be at the meeting, throw that camera on, be a leader, show that you're ready for the next step in your career. All right. So I know that we've talked a lot today. If you're ready to take action, then make a commitment to yourself. Okay. And how do you do that? Decide on one action that you're going to take next. Very similar to when Dr. White was walking us through the visioning exercise, right? Decide on one action that you're going to do today. You don't have to do everything on your vision board today. Start with one thing, and then you get that one thing, and then you move on to the next thing. But all the time you're building confidence. Okay. So what you can do is you can also get support. You don't have to go at it alone. You can get a group of people behind you. You can get the allies that we were talking about, your work bestie, your work partner, whoever's there to support you in the trenches. You can also bring in outside support, somebody that gets to see you for you and not just as the work you or the home you or the mom you or the partner you, right? Somebody that can see you objectively. And that's probably the favorite part of my work is I get to see people like that. So I would like to extend you an invitation. Take a moment to consider what message does your presence send when you walk into the room or log into a call. Presence is energy, confidence, gravitas, and grit. Maybe you've heard of it as the it factor, right? We're back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the presentation. It can be built intentionally. It is a skill. So think again of that person you admire and how she moves at work. And then I want to think about how you can become her. And maybe that her is just the best version of you. And so what I'd like to do is extend to you the invitation to join me on a call. We will do a Success Has a Sound career audit session, and we can talk about these 4 areas in your career and see where you might want to work on improving some habits or building some habits in that area so you can have this confidence and grit at work and move as the most powerful you.
Well, this is absolutely fabulous. And I'm trying to see if I can scan. Thank you so much.
I can send this to you as well if you wanted to share it.
I did scan. Guys, you know, the one thing about you, Annette, wow, you're very clear, very organized.
Thank you.
It was you're so approachable and simple in how you're delivering this information. And we need more leaders like you that will just break it down and keep it real. Like, listen, this is out here for you. This is how you can do it. It is possible. It is attainable. And so, I mean, you helped me so much on the apology. I apologize all the time, probably every day. I'm sorry. You know, but I was taught that.
Yes, we all were.
You're trying to save relationships, you know? And
yes.
You're trying to make sure they understand that you really care. So you apologize.
Sure.
You know, you do it to convince them that you're not trying to step over them. You're not trying to disrespect them. You're not trying to waste their time. So you always bend down. You always, you know, you bow and say, I'm sorry, you know? And so you taught me to, no, not in 2026, honey. You need to, you know, bow up and don't apologize unless you absolutely had an infraction. You know, I apologize literally walking in the room. Like you said, oh, I'm so sorry. Just need a moment. I'm sorry. Just, you know, like you said,
yeah,
you know, and see, I know you can relate to that probably. Cause I'm just like, that's the one takeaway I got from this was like,
well, I think one of you said like the good girl, like what, just, you know, I mean, it's so hard to break free from that. And even my girls, I still taught that early in their, you know, when they were little, but I started to go away from that. Like, no, you know what? You don't have to like everybody and you don't have to apologize for everything. But that's what we were taught.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be nice, don't stir everything up, that kind of a thing.
And I would dare say that groveling is not grit, right? Diminishing who you are does not make you stronger.
No.
You can be who you are. You can step into your presence, your power, your grit, and not, it doesn't, if I'm bright and shining brightly, you're not any less bright. If I'm smart, you're not any less smart. So this is not a competition. We need each other. Let's collaborate, but let's collaborate from our best version of our best selves.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing this. And I thank you so much again, Coach Annette.
Thank you.
You're such an expert in this. Thank you. This is really, I mean, this was fabulous to really wrap this up on. And I want to see if there's another way that we can connect with you. Is there an email or something for those that maybe their QR code wasn't working? Do you have another way?
Absolutely. I would love to connect with everybody on LinkedIn. It's my favorite place to hang out. So come see me on LinkedIn. It's my name. It's linkedin.com/in/Annette Garsteck. And let's connect. And we can chat there. I can send the link to the invitation. And Dr. White, I can even share the presentation for you if you want to get it out to the attendees.
Definitely. Yes. Okay. And for those that ask, I will definitely get it out to them. This will be streaming. I will stream this again next week as well so that people can get this spice. Right now, it is still going live on LinkedIn. It is also being streamed on YouTube. And on Facebook, and it will also be going on Twitter and other. So you guys will be able to see it everywhere. But again, thank you so much, Annette, for your contributions. Sia, thank you. Thank you to every speaker that was on here. And thank you to the audience that has been there with us since 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have done it. We have been gritty. And so, I wanted us to really end this with a bang as we're thriving into 2026. So before I wrap this up, do you ladies have one last good thing you want to share with the audience as they're getting ready to be launched into 2026?
I think that 2026 gets to be that year that we start over and we are going to really step into it. So let's leave all the weirdness behind, because this has been one crazy, weird year, and let's step into the future that we deserve and the future we're going to make for ourselves.
Thank you so much for that. Go ahead, Sia.
Well, I second that. I like the way you phrased that. And it just, to me, I have to go back to focus on your values, your definition of success, be your authentic self. Don't worry about everybody else.
Yes. I love that. And my last words would be, I want this to be a year for you to thrive, to really launch yourself, thrive, but to also keep in mind self-care. Listen to your body in this season. Don't take in the baggage of 2025, but choose to thrive. Choose to soar, be excellent. Look at your gritty vision boards. Look at the goals. Look at the people you're around, right? They talk about like the top 5 people you hang around. That's like who you are. Look at that and look at what else can you do different, and stop being afraid of that bigger version of you, that excellent version of you. Stop looking at that and then putting a net up and saying, no, not quite ready to go there yet. Be willing to be great, because somebody does need you. Somebody needs your resources. Somebody needs your gifts, your talents. So stop second guessing yourself and know that you are the perfect fit. You are the person for the job. And stop thinking that you got lucky, as Annette was telling us, and just walk into it. Write your visions out, make them plain. Remember the GRIT framework. Take that with you and learn how to embed that in everything you do. Growth mindset. What thoughts are going on? What are you having some stinking thinking? How can you get rid of that? Right? And then how can you be more resilient? Do you need someone that can maybe motivate you and get you to that level? Self-efficacy. How can you believe in yourself? Listen, we need that so much in this day. How can you believe in yourself? Again, to say that I do have what it takes. I am competent. And if I'm not competent at the moment, I can learn and I can become what I need to be. I can evolve into that next level of greatness. Don't be afraid of the new opportunities. Don't be afraid to explore AI in a healthy way. Don't be afraid of partnering with other people. Don't be afraid of going for that grant. Don't be afraid of asking for support. We have to get out of this. We have to shed from those things and go on to greatness. And then, of course, time management. Get yourself a calendar, whether it's like a grid calendar or, get something tangible, a Google calendar. And then, like Annette was saying, show up, be professional. Okay. Be that better version of yourself. Choose to be professional. Don't sit there and say, oh, well, it's just another, I don't care. No big deal. I'm not going to take this seriously. Let's change that. If you're feeling lazy, you're feeling tired, you're feeling distracted, shake yourself out of it. Okay. Make some promises to yourself to accomplish something big in 2026. I really hope that you guys are able to get some things on those vision boards and that you guys are going to be able to really see those things come to pass in 2026 and stop being also your worst bet or your worst critic. Choose to be your biggest cheerleader this year. Let's do better. I think this year is all about thriving and it's about self-care. We really have to do better. We've got what it takes. You already have everything you need. So hope that you guys are able to take grit, to take that great resilience and time, and to really take grit with you in all that you do in 2026. So again, thank you so much for joining me, guys, on this Getting Gritty for the New Year conference. I am so excited to hear about the great reports, and you guys keep in touch. All of my keynotes, keep in touch. I will also be giving you guys updates from our keynotes throughout the year. If you're needing information, you want reminders, I'll make sure to get their information and farm it out to everybody that has watched. You can also rewatch the replay on YouTube as well. And so with that said, guys, congratulations. We have done it. We have succeeded in having this fabulous conference. And if you guys are wanting more information, if you maybe need to follow up, feel free to send me an email. My email, as you should know, my email and my website, is www.india-white.com. If you guys are needing that grit assessment, you can find it there. If you're needing anything else, or if you're just needing to get this conference and you're like, hey, can you send me the link? Feel free to send me a message on that email, www.india-white.com. I also want to extend to you ladies an opportunity to be a part of my podcast, Let's Get Gritty podcast. I would love to have you guys on for 2026 so you can take some of these jewels that you have shared with the world and share it in our platform with my audience. So we'll talk about that later. But that is what I have for you guys. So congratulations. We did it. We have successfully had our second annual Getting Gritty for the New Year conference. Thank you all for watching. Have a fabulous holiday season, a wonderful new year. And I'm telling you, this is your year to thrive. So take all of these nuggets with you and stay gritty. See ya.
Awesome.